Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Wednesday's games. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, June 8th. First up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to see Alex Faedo and Mitch Keller on the mound for this one. Now, I do think that Alex Faedo has more regression in his game that I would worry about on the mound here. Both guys definitely pitchers that I don't usually back, and this is a spot where both teams offensively do struggle quite a bit against right-handed pitching, but I do think the Pirates' offensive numbers are a little bit better. They're also playing at home, and the Tigers have really struggled on the road this season. They're far better at home than they are on the road this year, and Alex Faedo only 5.91 strikeouts per 9 this season, not missing enough bats for me. Mitch Keller's strikeout numbers are down a little bit from last year, but still much higher than Faedo's right now. And I do trust him a little bit more here on the mound. I think his Pirates offense will also back him up more in this spot also. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Pirates here on the money line. This should be a pretty close game. I lean towards the under as well, but give me the Pirates on the money line. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Kansas City Royals. We're going to see Yusei Kikuchi and Brady Singer on the mound for this one. Now, I don't think Yusei Kikuchi is the best option the Blue Jays could have on the mound here, but the Royals have struggled against left-handed pitching this season for the most part, and Yusei Kikuchi, up until his last start, was pitching really well for Toronto. Last time out, did get hit pretty badly, 3 home runs and 4 earned runs against the Twins, but it's a lineup that hits lefties a lot better than KC does, and Brady Singer on the other side also got crushed in his last outing, giving up 7 earned runs and 3 homers to the Astros in a 10-3 blowout loss. The Blue Jays have really picked it up offensively against righties as of late. Now they're inside the top 10 in both team OPS and isolated power against righties. I think both teams score, but I do think the Blue Jays will score more in the end. I lean towards the over, but I like the Blue Jays here on the money line. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Merrill Kelly and Mike Minor on the mound for this one. This is a tough game for me. The Cincinnati Reds, the oldest team in baseball, and Mike Minor, a veteran starter here, didn't pitch well at all in his season debut with the Reds. 4 innings, 5 earned runs, and 3 homers in that one. And that was against the Washington Nationals. I do think Arizona's lineup is a little bit better than Washington's, even though that hasn't been the case necessarily against left-handed pitching. But I really can't back Mike Minor in this spot, especially with his struggles with the long ball, and now he's pitching in a hitter-friendly ballpark like Great American. Merrill Kelly, we've seen some inconsistencies in his game recently. We know that his first month of the season was spotless, and it looked like him and Gallen could be, a really solid 1-2 punch in that rotation. Now, he's struggling a little bit for Arizona, but his ERA is still solid at 3.66. 4-3 winning record on the year, coming off a decent start against the Pirates where he went 5 innings, 2 earned runs, and the Diamondbacks got the win 8-6. I'm going to lean towards Arizona here. I think we're getting a good price with the dog in this spot on the road, but certainly not my favorite game on the board. Next up, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Houston Astros. We're going to see Marco Gonzalez and Jose Urquidy on the mound for this one. Now, Marco Gonzalez, he's had his fair share of struggles, and I certainly don't back him very often, giving up 11 home runs already on the season. But I do think this is a beneficial matchup for him. He already pitched pretty well against these Astros back on May 29th. He went 7 1/3 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. And the Astros have struggled against lefties for the most part this season. We saw on Monday, I said the Mariners probably the most valuable underdog on the board in that game going up against Robbie Ray. And although they scored a few runs on Ray, it wasn't enough to win that ball game in the end. And, with Jose Urquidy on the mound, a guy that I've faded quite a bit this season, 4.76 ERA, did come off a pretty good start against the Royals where he went 6 innings, only 3 earned runs allowed, but giving up at least 1 homer in his last 4 starts. He's given up a ton of base hits this year with a 1.51 whip, not striking out a ton of batters either. I think the Mariners offense can get to Urquidy early and often here, similar to what they did against Christian Javier in game 1 of this set. So I'm going to take the Mariners. I'm going to take a shot with the dog here, getting the plus money. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Now, we should see Josiah Gray on the mound for Washington and Sandy Alcantara on the bump for the Marlins. Josiah Gray, I think he's got good stuff, and I think he's got a bright future in the major leagues. He just has a few glaring issues in his game right now that I would worry about, and that includes the home run ball. 14 home runs already allowed this season, The walks are also a problem for him at times. He's striking out batters, 63 Ks and 57 in the third innings, but the home runs and walks, just a glaring issue that I can't deny. And going up against arguably the top pitcher in the National League right now in Sandy Alcantara, and I think this is a tough spot for the Nationals here. Alcantara, 1.81 ERA. He's striking out some more batters as of late also, which was the only really issue I had in his game. Was he was a little bit too much pitch to contact, but 22 Ks in his last 2 innings, not too bad at all. He's not giving up a lot of earned runs, not giving up a lot of base hits, not giving up sharp contact. I think he pitches well in this spot again. I think the Marlins win this game and cover the run line for him as well. Give me Miami on the run line. Next up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to see Jordan Lyles and Marcus Stroman as the starters in this one. It's kind of been an interesting season for Marcus Stroman thus far, as he's really struggled at Wrigley Field, but he's been pretty good on the road this season. You look at his last start at Wrigley Field, 10 hits, 9 earned runs, 3 home runs allowed, and only 4 innings of work, a blowout loss for the Cubs. But you look at his last few road starts, 7 innings against the White Sox, no earned runs allowed. 5 innings against the Reds at Great American Ballpark, a very hitter-friendly park. Only 2 earned runs allowed with 8 strikeouts. Previous road start against the Brewers on May 1st, 7 innings, no earned runs allowed. So he has a 2.79 road ERA this season, pitching really well away from Wrigley Field. Can't really do much at Wrigley Field. And Jordan Lyles on the other side, he's given up at least 3 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. I think the Cubs are going to be able to get to Lyles here, and I do like Stroman on the road in this spot again. So I'm going to take the Cubs here on the money line. In our next game, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, we don't have an official lineup for this game quite yet because the Cardinals have not listed a starter, but if they do decide to go with a bullpen game, I don't really like their chances going up against Corey Kluber on the other side. Now, Corey Kluber has been a really good signing for Tampa Bay this season. 3.73 ERA, 3.72 xFIP, and a solid 3.57 FIP. Striking out a decent amount of batters, but he's not giving up virtually any walks. 1.42 walks per 9. That's way down from last year. And the home runs have been a little bit of an issue here and there, but not something that I would worry about too much. Going up against the Cardinals, if they decide to go with that bullpen game, I don't really trust their bullpen. You look on Fangraphs.com, they're ranked 21st in projected WAR rating, and although they have a couple big names in that bullpen like Gallegos and Cabrera, and Ryan Helsley's having a really good season, I think the bottom end of that bullpen, which will have to get the majority of this game, I don't really trust them at all. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Rays here on the money line for now. I'd like to see who the Cardinals decide to go with on the mound to start this game, but I'll lean towards Tampa Bay for now. Next up, we see the Texas Rangers taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to see Dane Dunning and Shane Bieber on the mound for this one. And Shane Bieber, I've mentioned that I do worry about some things in his game in terms of regression, but I will say he's impressed me the last few starts that he's had. The Guardians have won 3 of the last 4 games that Bieber started in. Last outing, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and 11 strikeouts against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, I will say, the last few starts, Bieber has faced some weak lineups, the Orioles, the Tigers, and the Tigers again. But he is facing another Texas Rangers lineup here that hasn't been great against righties this season. They are improving as guys like Semien start to get hotter, but still a lineup that I think Cleveland has the advantage there. I think they have the advantage in starting pitching matchup as well, although Dane Dunning has been a solid option for Texas at times. This is a really close game for me. I think the price-wise, the Guardians are really steep favorites. Not really the most value on them, but I do think they're going to get the win here, even if it is a close game. I don't want to lay the run line because I could see a one-run ball game. So I'm going to lean towards the Guardians on the money line. I actually lean towards the Rangers on the run line, plus the 1.5. This could be a one-run Guardians win and a low-scoring affair. In our next game, we see the Oakland Athletics taking on the Atlanta Braves. We're going to see the Major League debut of Jared Koenig, and he'll be going up against Ian Anderson of the Atlanta Braves. Now, Jared Koenig, not a lot of information on him, but he did pitch in AAA this season for Oakland. He's pitching pretty well, actually. A sub-3 ERA, double-digit Ks per 9. But he is 28 years of age, so not really a big-time prospect for Oakland. And he is a left-handed pitcher, and it's really tough to be a lefty facing the Atlanta Braves this season. Probably one of, if not the toughest lineup to face as a lefty in 2022. They are very, very powerful against lefties, as they're number 1 in baseball in isolated power against left-handers, and they're also 4th in team OPS against southpaws. So I do think this is a really tough Major League debut to make, especially on the road for Koenig. But on the other side, I do think the A's offense will show up against Ian Anderson. He's a guy that I faded from the start of the season. He's got a 4.7 ERA. Struggled a little bit against the Rockies last time out at Coors Field. Now, he won't be pitching at Coors Field here, but Truist Park, still a little bit of a hitter-friendly ballpark. I think the Oakland A's can chip in 3 to 4 runs here. I think Atlanta does the rest. I think we go over the total here in Oakland, Atlanta. Next up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Nestor Cortez and Chris Archer as your starters in this one. Now, Chris Archer does have a 3.89 ERA, but I don't think that's going to hold up for very much longer. You see he's getting up 6 home runs in 39 and a third innings. Hasn't had too many issues with the long ball recently, but he also hasn't really faced any tough lineups recently. He's faced the Tigers, the Royals, the A's, and the Tigers again in his last 4 outings, and now you're going up against one of the top lineups in baseball, number 3 in team OPS against righties, and number 5 again in isolated power against righties in the Yankees. I think Archer has a very, very tough day. I think the Yankees make him pay early and often. I also like them against the Twins bullpen. I think the Twins can put up a few runs on Nestor Cortez, but for the most part this season, he has been lights out. 1.5 ERA, coming off a 7-inning shutout performance against the Angels with 7 strikeouts in that one. In his last 5 starts, the Yankees have won all 5 of those ball games, and in 4 of those 5, they've covered the run line as well. I'm going to take the New York Yankees on the money line here, sprinkle a little bit on the run line. I also like the over in this spot also. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Chicago White Sox. We're going to see Tony Gonsolin and Johnny Cueto on the mound for this one. Now, Johnny Cueto's first 2 starts for the White Sox were really strong. He didn't give up a single earned run in the first 12 innings against the Royals and Yankees combined. The White Sox won both of those games. But in his last 2 outings is where I'm the most concerned. He's pitched against the Cubs and the Blue Jays. He pitched 6 2/3 against the Cubs, giving up 9 hits and 5 earned runs, 3 walks as well. And against the Blue Jays, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of those were earned, and a home run also. Against the Dodgers, number 1 in baseball in team OPS and isolated power against righties. I think Cueto is in trouble here. And on the other side, Tony Gonsolin has just pitched so well for the Dodgers this year. 6-0 with a 1.59 ERA. He's kind of the Dodgers' Nestor Cortez, is kind of a guy that flies under the radar and all of a sudden could make a case for an NL Cy Young berth. But Gonsolin striking out batters, limiting walks, limiting home runs, and pitching a good amount of innings as well. At least 6 innings in each of his last 4 starts. Really haven't seen that from Gonsolin in his career up until this point. And he's facing a Chicago White Sox team that hasn't hit righties well at all this year. Ranked 29th in baseball in isolated power against righties and 28th in team OPS against righties. We've mentioned it all season long. The White Sox crush lefties. They have struggled against righties. I'm going to take the Dodgers in this spot on the money line. Next up, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to see Aaron Nola and Adrian Hauser on the mound for this one. Now, the funny thing for Aaron Nola, at the beginning of the season, I thought he was pitching really well for the Phillies, but wasn't getting a lot of run support. And then recently, his last start, he struggled quite a bit, 5 earned runs against the Giants in 6 innings, but his team was able to back him up offensively for the first time, it seemed, all season, as they still went on to win that game 6-5. And overall, I've been more impressed with the Phillies' offense lately than I have been Milwaukee's. I think Nola's the better starter in this matchup, and I do trust the Phillies lineup a little bit more in this spot also. Although the Brewers have the far better bullpen, I think the Phillies are just a tad better in this spot. I think they're the favorites for a reason. I'm going to take the Phillies on the money line here, just to lean. Not my favorite game on the board to bet, but certainly should be an entertaining game to watch. Next up, we see the Boston Red Sox taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Nathan Eovaldi and Reed Detmers are your starters for now, but we could see a pitching change as the line is not officially out for this game. But we're definitely going to see a managerial change as the Angels decided to fire Joe Maddon, longtime manager for the Angels. He is gone. They just fired him this afternoon, right before I started recording these videos. And now we're going to see Phil Nevin step up as the manager for now, as the interim manager. But you know, the Angels, a team that was playing really good baseball, and all of a sudden they went on a big-time losing streak. I do think that the move was probably necessary. I mean, this team is very, very talented. Obviously, 2 of the best players in baseball, in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. So to be a couple games under 500, it's pretty inexcusable for this type of team, especially when you're also bringing a guy like Noah Syndergaard to the rotation, and you hold some talent in guys like Jared Walsh and Anthony Rendon. So we'll have to see how this move changes the course of the season. We saw the Phillies kind of get a boost when they fired Joe Girardi. So we'll see if the same happens for the Angels. But in this game, I do like the Red Sox chances. I just like the way the Red Sox are playing lately. I also like the way Nathan Eovaldi has pitched lately. Last time out, he was dominant against the Oakland Athletics. He had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, no earned runs allowed. And Reed Detmers, although he does have a no-hitter under his belt, I do worry about him in this spot going up against the Red Sox lineup that has just been really solid against both righties and lefties. But against lefties right now, they're ranked 5th in baseball in team OPS, 7th in isolated power. And Detmers, not a lot of strikeouts in his game, does give up a good amount of home runs. I know Eovaldi has a home run problem too, but I do think the Red Sox lineup is just in a better spot right now. So I'm going to take the Red Sox here on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the San Diego Padres. Chris Bassett and Sean Manaea on the mound for this one. And I think we see a very low total for a reason in this spot. I do like the under here. Chris Bassett, we've seen inconsistent performances from him lately against the Cardinals and the Giants. He didn't really fare too well. Against the Phillies, he was super sharp. Against the Dodgers, so-so, giving up 3 earned runs, 2 home runs. But that's the Dodgers lineup. Now you're facing the Padres lineup, a team that just hasn't done much against righties at all this season. They've done well against lefties, and the bullpen's been sharp, but against righties, 27th in baseball San Diego is offensively, and 27th in isolated power. So I do think Bassett can set himself up for a nice start here. On the other side, Sean Manaea, 3.77 ERA. We've seen the good and the bad from him this season, but lately he's been sharp, especially last outing, 6 innings, 1 earned run against the Brewers. He's facing a Mets lineup that doesn't hit lefties nearly as well as they hit righties. I'm going to take the under in this spot. I think this is going to be a low-scoring battle. I lean towards the Mets here on the money line, but give me the under in the Mets-Padres. In our final game of the night, we see the San Francisco Giants hosting the Colorado Rockies. Antonio Senzatella and Alex Wood are your projected starters here. Now, Alex Wood has faced this Rockies lineup quite often this year, 2 times in his last 5 outings, and he's pitched pretty well against Colorado also. In his last 9 2/3 innings, only giving up 3 earned runs with 9 strikeouts and no home runs allowed, and he did pitch one of those starts at Coors Field, so that's pretty impressive. Giants were able to win both of those ball games, only covering the run line in one, but I do like them to cover the run line here against Antonio Senzatella, a guy that I have to fade in this spot, whether he's at home at Coors Field or on the road. 5.4 ERA, giving up a ton of base hits. Last time out on the mound, he gave up 13 base hits to the Miami Marlins, a 1.97 whip. He only has 14 strikeouts and 35 innings of work. Just a guy I cannot back here. So give me the Giants here on the run line. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday, June 8th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.